Later today, Vice President Kamala Harris will kick off her nationwide Fight for Reproductive Freedoms tour in Waukesha County.
And this visit comes on the 51st anniversary of the Roe v. Wade decision. And the Biden and Harris campaign have said abortion rights will be front and center during this election. Harris is set to arrive in Milwaukee sometime after 10 this morning and then travel to Big Bend in Waukesha County, where she's expected to speak just after noon.
Now, during her tour, she is expected to highlight the stories of women affected by the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. This, by the way, is Harris's fifth visit to Wisconsin since she took the role of VP.
And the White House says they picked Wisconsin to kick off the vice president's tour because of what has happened in the state after Roe v. Wade was overturned. Katie Keith, the deputy assistant to the president and deputy director of the Gender Policy Council, says women in Wisconsin have different experiences when it comes to the issue of abortion, and this gives voters a different perspective on the nationwide abortion battle.
The sort of back and forth in the courts and clinics closing and reopening and the kind of chaos that patients and their doctors are seeing on the ground. I think it's a really important place and time to be coming to Wisconsin to talk about the fight that's ahead.
And again, she is expected to speak around noon today.
Gabrielle, thank you. And from the News Now desk, taking a live look through our Capitol Skycam, where later today a public hearing will be held on a GOP-led proposal to change Wisconsin's abortion laws. This new legislation would ban abortions after 14 weeks or after 3.5 months of pregnancy. Currently, medical abortions are legal up to 20 weeks in Wisconsin. Republican lawmakers who control the Wisconsin Assembly introduced this bill on Friday. Governor Tony Evers is almost certain to veto this measure. We will be keeping an eye on this closely as the day moves ahead. From the News Now desk, I'm Phoebe Murray.